We're back in the studio at BetMGM Sportsbook in Mandalay Bay. Scotty Braun, Erik Kratz, and Jason Kipnis after a hard-fought battle last night on the poker table. Tables, plural. We were on different tables. We can't all play on the same table.
That would be epic.
It would be epic, but also I'd be concerned because last year I came here with Kip. He finished in the money. This year, Kratz also joined us, and in last night's tournament, finished in the money. Well done. Well done. The Mystery Bounty Tournament finished definitely in the top 100. It was maybe in the
72nd or 75th.
Top 110 got paid out of 887 entries, I believe.
Yeah. Is that what the number was?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got top 200. Couldn't squeeze it out, though. Couldn't hang on.
Still very, very impressive performance.
We ran into the same buzzsaw. Aces. Right? You lost
you
on
and
aces?
me.
Yeah,
Oh, you and me.
ran
Yes.
the same
yes.
buzzsaw.
I did. Pocket aces lost against
Yep.
it was like queen 4, got trip 4s. So you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, you had the aces.
I had the aces.
Oh, I didn't have the aces. No, I ran
you ran
into
into
the
aces. My aces cracked.
I had
Kip
top hair
says-
on the board and thought I was great.
Kip says he would never lose with aces.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. He
Yeah.
he looked at you. Did you see his face?
Yeah.
He was
Ugh.
like, oh, you had
Yeah.
the aces.
That
Oh.
explains it.
I'm embarrassed about it.
He just didn't play it well.
It happened. But Kratz, how was your experience?
I mean, it looks like a rap video up in here. Just cash, just flowing, hundreds everywhere. It was great. It was really great. I mean, I kind of blame me losing when I did on you guys because we had reservations at Jean George, a steakhouse here at the Aria.
Hey.
And there's my buddy Jim Herman on the left, qualified for the U.S. Open, not poker tournament, the actual golf U.S.
Yeah.
Open. So kudos to Jim for coming out and hanging out with us still, even though he's got to get his swing right. But I lost on pocket tens, and I knew I had stake coming, and it was a 3-way all-in pot. And the river card got me. The river card got me, or I would have been there. I still would have been there.
Yeah.
I would have been taking bounties.
I was going to say you would have started getting bounties.
I would have been taking bounties like Miguel Cabrera hitting dingers. Instead, I'm out like me on a slider. Tragic.
That was perfect analysis.
Yep.
Good news is we have one more tournament today. We'll all be back in action in a few hours from now. But first, baseball. Let's charge the damn mound.
Charging the mound.
Got to start Yankees. Big Yankees-Dodgers series this weekend. But also they've won 8 games in a row. But also, is Juan Soto okay?
There's no diagnosis yet, right? They're just going to get imaging.
Left forearm discomfort. Been dealing with it for kind of like a week and a half or so.
I don't think there's ever a good time to lose Juan Soto or a player of that caliber. But I think the way that Judge and Volpe and the rest, some of the lineups going, hopefully I think it's a good time where they can pick up the slack and they're going well enough to stay afloat and win some ball games while he recovers. I think you be careful with him right now.
You do be careful. He wants to play because it's his free agent year. He wants to play because I just think that's the kind of guy he is. But it was weird. I watched his interview, and they reiterated it a couple times, like, are you concerned? He didn't say yes or no, but he said it's definitely something. It was weird. He said, it doesn't hurt me when I throw, and it doesn't hurt me when I swing. So
when
but
does
he
it
never.
hurt?
But they asked him. Meredith asked him, "Hey, does it? What does it hurt with?" He said, "When I move my arm in certain ways." I don't know. I'm like, don't move your arm in certain ways. I think it's something that anytime we hear forearm, you're like, is that the precursor? Even though he's not a pitcher.
I know what you're going for there. I say then you just give him a series, give him 2 series off, let it heal, let it calm down, whatever it is. I don't put too much into that.
Or DH him?
Or DH him if that really is, if he's telling the truth where it doesn't hurt him when he swings. I don't put too much into that's a free agency year for Juan Soto. I think he's going to get paid regardless, whether he finishes with 25 home runs or 27 home runs or whatever it is. I think Juan Soto is going to be just fine with the contract. It's a bidding war for him no matter what. I think the Yankees need to do big picture here and look towards October baseball, and I think they need to be smart with him.
So maybe no Soto for the Dodgers series.
Oh, that would be.
Which isn't good. Which isn't fun as a fan of baseball
Mm-hmm.
and the fan of the teams, and you want to watch those games and you have especially one of the best players in that series be there. But big picture, you got to step back and look sometimes.
If he does have to go on the IL, you know what that could mean.
Trent Grisham, who hit a home run, his second home run of the year, gets to play more?
He might get some more PT, but also
The Martian.
the Martian might return.
Martian.
He was removed in the 8th inning of his last rehab start.
Oh, was he?
Just saying.
Because he was
I
hurt,
don't
or
know
because
if it was-
Or because he's too good?
or because they're bringing him up.
Because it's easy. Yeah.
Speculation City.
I don't know. It was definitely Speculation City. It was a tweet that he was removed. Was he removed at the same – the question was he removed at the same time Juan Soto was removed from
Yeah, can we line up
the game?
Was there conspiracy theories going on?
There was, but
Like
See, I don't get
can't.
involved in any of that. And I do.
Oh,
I do.
stop.
I do. I get involved in all of
you love that.
Yeah. I just was
You're
playing poker and having dinner with my friends, so I missed
I missed all
some of the
that.
hysteria online. But it's going to be a fun series. We're going to preview it quite a bit because we're going to talk to Jack Harris on the Dodgers side. Ken Rosenthal is covering that series. Ken's going to join us a little bit later on in the show. Of course, we're going to preview the London series too. That's cool. It's a big deal. There's a lot going on out there. And Pete Alonso is a walking soundbite. And he is doubling down on that out in London right now. So it's been pretty great. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with our first guest, Alec Burleson from the St. Louis Cardinals.
Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of Foul Territory. Unified Healing is an innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. This technology promotes wellness and deep relaxation, and there are hundreds of locations across the globe. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Go to unifydhealing.com/foul to learn more and find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/FOUL. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System.
Here he is, ready to go. Alec Burleson from the St. Louis Cardinals joining us right now on the show for the first time. Alec, great to have you on, man. How's the year going?
It's going well. It's going well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. Great to have you on. Give me your analysis of how the year is going for you and take me beyond the numbers. Obviously, this is, your best year yet in your young career. Things are going well for you personally, but, give me the evaluation of Alec Burleson, like feeling more comfortable in the big league life and how you feel, you're performing.
Yeah, I think I started off a little slow. Obviously wanted to start out. Obviously we ran into the Dodgers the first series. So I think us as a team, we kind of started out slow, and me personally, I think I started out a little slow. But with all the new voices in the locker room, with the veterans we got this offseason, it has allowed me to like you said, become more comfortable, comfortable in the locker room and on the field, be the player I want to be on the field. And, I think it's carried into the results. So, overall, I think I'm having a pretty good year. I think, obviously want to continue to contribute to the team, contribute to the wins. But, I'm happy with where I'm at right now.
You mentioned some of the Grizzly vets that you added in the offseason, your team added in the offseason. How much of a difference does it make to provide an edge? Do you feel like the edge factor is higher for St. Louis this year? And can you try to put that into words, like what that means? Is it like, hey, there's some young dudes chilling on their phones and then an old dude's like, phones suck, and he smacks it out of his hand, or is there more to it?
No, I think it's the exact opposite. I think they've allowed us to the big leagues, there's a lot of stress when it comes to playing in the big leagues, especially as a young player. And, you want to perform. You feel like it's now or never. And, I think a few of us kind of fell into that trap last year. And, with guys coming up, with guys, being rookies last year. And they've kind of allowed us to understand that it's still a game. And, people say that all the time, but, it's a lot different playing in the big leagues. So, They've allowed us to, be ourselves, have fun, and play with that kind of young fire that a lot of us have. And we want to show that on the field.
All right, I saw you when you came to Philly. You were absolutely smashy roads all over the ballpark there, but how many homers do you think you'd have if you played in Philly? Because we always talk about like the different parks. You get to play in the Great American Small Park. Which one does it fly out of easier? Because I know it's not St. Louis, because when it gets hot in St. Louis, ain't nothing flying out. But
Yeah,
is
no.
it Cincinnati or Philly?
Well, I have a tough time hitting in Cincinnati. I haven't hit a home run in Cincinnati, so I don't think I've hit a ball in the air in Cincinnati. So I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you if the ball flies there or not. But yeah, Philly. I mean, if you get they're in Houston. I felt like Houston the ball flew well too. So I don't know how many homers I have. I have a few more backside homers. I feel like I've hit a bunch of balls to the track at Busch that just get gobbled up. But you get your doubles at home, and then when you go on the road, you get your homers.
Something I brought up with when we were talking about the Cardinals and how like we look at your lineup and I'm like, golly, like there's just some bangers. And you guys went through a stretch where you guys were scoring 3 or less runs in I don't know how many games, and it was a tough offensive stretch. My theory was, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I love when people tell me I'm wrong, so that I can be informed by the people that are in the situation. You guys run out a different lineup every single day. What does the same hitting in the same spot in the lineup, let alone the fact that you're a DH, you're an outfielder, you're a first baseman, and you got dudes playing second base, and then they're like, no, actually, you're our center fielder. You guys have so many moving parts. Recently, when you guys have been hot, you've had less lineup changes. Is there a correlation to that?
There could be. I think, early on we were trying to figure out everybody's role and try to figure out where everybody fits. Obviously, you've got your boppers in the middle with Goldie and Nato and Wilson before he got injured. But I think it was just a combination of just one playing the hot hand and then two just kind of figuring out where everybody fit in and what everybody's role is going to be. So. I wouldn't look too much into it as far as production when we were running different lineups out. I don't think it really matters to guys where they're hitting. I know me personally, as long as I'm in the lineup, I don't care if I'm batting first or last. It doesn't matter to me as long as I'm in there and able to contribute. But I think there's like I was saying about roles. There's different roles depending where you're hitting too as well. If I'm hitting second, I'm trying to get on for guys like Goldie, Gorman, Nato, those guys. And if I'm batting fifth, sixth, I'm trying to drive them in. So, I wouldn't look too much into that early. I don't think it really had an effect on any of us.
No, I think guys like you and Nolan have stepped up. Gorman have stepped up and kind of given even Arenado and Goldie a little bit of time to get their feet going a little bit because we know what they can do when they're capable and going right. Those are two of the better hitters in the entire league. With the early success you have, we speculate here. We're going to have you speculate a little bit right now. They've opened up the All-Star voting. How hard is it for a young guy not to have some success and start thinking about that a little bit and kind of wonder what if? And do you try to put that into the back of your mind, or are you admitting, or like, can you admit that you're like, oh, that would be awesome if it happens? Is it something you think about at all?
I mean, sort of. I mean, you look at who I'm going up against.
You're human. You're human.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, but I mean, that's still a while away, right? I look at it as a win-win. If I'm fortunate enough to get the chance to be voted in or whatever it is, that's awesome. But if not, I'll get to go home and see my wife for a few days, get to see my dog, check out my new house. So, it's kind of a win-win in that situation.
Good answer. Good brownie points answer right there. She's going to love that.
She's
going to love that
what a
right
flex,
there.
too. A new house. I'm going to come on FT and tell everybody.
Where are you right now?
I'm in my apartment right now in St. Louis.
That's a boss apartment.
I love the brick, and that's a Chicago style brick and wood right there.
Yeah, it's sick. It's sick. I love it.
Did you pick that out, or did the missus pick that out?
No, she had nothing to do with it. She doesn't really.
Not a good answer. Not a good answer.
No, well, she doesn't really travel with me on the road. She's back at home. She's a police officer back at home, so she doesn't get to she doesn't get to do too much traveling. She's going to come next homestand though, but yeah, she's at home doing her cool stuff.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. What's the hat? What's the gang hat?
Theo Vaughn.
Yes, sir.
He came and visited us. I think it was some point earlier in the season. He was awesome. Same guy on TV that he is in person. So
The Rat Gang.
Oh gosh, he was something. He came in our hitters meeting and gave us a little 5-minute sort of pump up speech, sort of stand up, sort of whatever, and it was freaking awesome. It was awesome.
I'm happy that you did that because I started it maybe a little bit too late in my career. I did it towards the tail end, but I'm pumped that you're already doing that because use your career right now to make these kind of connections and networks and meet guys that you want to. So I'm with you with stand-up comedy. So Theo Vaughn, Tom Segura, you guys, you go to their shows and you meet them backstage. It's pretty awesome, and you establish these relationships that are a lot of fun for you. And it goes beyond baseball afterwards and even when you're done playing. So I'm jealous that you're starting that this early in the career, and that's a great thing to start doing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, you went to ECU. What? I honestly don't know if ECU is in the tournament or not, but it's one of those things that if their NIL money is not up to par, then they probably don't have a chance anyway. Coming out of college, do you feel like it's even worth watching the NCAA tournament, or are you like, yeah, I'm locked in?
Well, I'm not watching right now. We got bounced out of our regional. We hosted and got bounced out. But me personally, I don't love it. I don't because I remember back when I was in college, it was you played because you loved the game, because you wanted to play the game with the 30 or so guys that you were with. You wanted to win for those guys, win for the city, whatever it was, and now everybody's chasing a paycheck, and it kind of takes away the old saying of playing for what's on the front of the jersey, not on the back. And it's still college baseball. It's still fun to watch. I still watch my Pirates whenever I can. I was locked into their regional when they were playing, but just afterwards, you just see these guys leaving, and it's like, what are your chances of I guess having a good career with another team that you're coming in, you don't know any of those guys, you don't have any connections with the coaching staff, any of those personal connections, especially with Coach Godwin at ECU. He values those more than the player on the field. So I don't love it. I would not like to imagine me as a 16, 17 or 18, 19-year-old with some NIL money in my pocket. I don't think I'd be where I am right now. I think I would have spent a little more time at the bars, but maybe renting out booths and stuff for people. But I'm not a huge fan of it, but I mean, it is what it is. It's the world we live in.
Do you think it sells the game or it hurts the game in the sense, not that necessarily the college game, but we look at college football and we say, well, college football kind of makes the juggernaut that the NFL is, and baseball is always looking at that. So it's like, all right, now these games are on TV. You're getting to see who these young guys are. Does it kind of diminish that for baseball, or are we just automatically, because everyone just filters where the money is, all the best players are going to be on the same teams and we get to watch them? You know what I'm saying? Like, in a sense, like, it's selling the game for the future, or is it hurting the game for the future?
I don't know. It's a tough question. I think I don't know. That's tough. I think you're gonna. I think it's gonna be the same. The 8 teams go to Omaha. It's gonna be the same 8 to 10 cycle teams that are in Omaha. You're not gonna have these kind of these Cinderella stories as often. You will, but not as often. And that, I think that's what makes the game fun to watch. Seeing those teams that aren't supposed to be there and beat up on the good teams. And I don't know. I think I don't know. It's a tough question. I don't really know how to put the answer into words, but I think it. I don't know if it's good for the game. I don't know if it's going to help the game. I'm not sure. I know. I wouldn't have. I don't think I'd be where I am right now with that kind of stuff. I think I wouldn't have, became the baseball player I am if I was chasing money. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yep. Well, you said teams that are supposed to be there, so I'm going to transition back to you guys right now. You and the Reds are 6.5 games out. The Cubs are only 5.5 games out. How do you see you guys chasing down the Brewers? I know it's still very early and you still got a lot of season left. What do you think it's going to take from you guys that you're going to have to see improvements in, whether it's lineup, defense, pitching? How is winning going to take shape for the Cardinals the rest of the season?
I think there's a few different things. Obviously, our bullpen's been really good. They're going to have to continue to be really good. We're going to have some guys step up in the bullpen as well. We can't use the same guys every night and expect the same results. And then our pitching is going to, continue to be good. We've, like I said earlier, we've got those veterans in the rotation that are, what you're going to get from those guys, and they're going to do it day in or night in and night out. So just continue to get those guys rolling, and as an offense, we just I think the young guys continue to do what we're doing, and then the older guys will come along. They've been through it. They know what it takes, and then once we get guys like Newt Barr and Wilson back, I think we'll start to click, and I'm not saying we're not clicking right now. I think as an offense we're a tough lineup to navigate, and that takes a toll on some arms. So, but we expect to win. I think that the feeling in the clubhouse is we're expecting to win, and once we get some of those pieces back, I think it will be a fun team to watch, and we'll start winning a lot more baseball games.
Yeah, so you're smashing at home. I think you're hitting like 333, something like that. Kelsey Bird, a huge Cardinals fan, wants to know, your walk-up song is Party Like a Rock Star. How did you pick that, and does that get the boys going?
I hope it does. It was honestly no story behind it. It was just I felt like it would get the fans into it, and get the crowd into it, and it's brought me a lot of hits. So I think I'm gonna continue to use it. It's just kind of catchy, kind of fun, nothing too serious. So no story behind it though. Just like the song.
We haven't been to a Cardinals game. The crew here hasn't been to a Cardinals game. So which Party Like a Rock Star? Because there's a couple versions. Is it the metal version? Is it the OG version? Okay, okay.
Yeah. The OG.
Get some people going.
That'll get the people going, especially when it hits, when that bass hits. It's no Dodger Stadium, but the Cardinals can play some music. The fans aren't super loud, but that's okay. They're great fans. But the speaker system is sneaky one of the best.
Yeah. No, they'll pump it in, and we've actually tried to have them turn it up louder so that we can turn it into a party there. So, not that it's not loud already. We don't want to, as hitters, we don't want to be thinking about what we're trying to do. We just want to hear our walk-up song and get ready to go.
I go smash.
That's the goal of it.
Love that.
You want something that gets you feeling good. Something gets it swinging when you walk up to the plate a little bit.
A cop's husband can't be partying that hard like a rock star, though. Like you gotta. Do you keep a card in your wallet?
The PBA?
Do you keep a card in your wallet? I have a card. I have a gold card that I got from the Pennsylvania State Police.
Oh, excuse me.
And
sorry about it.
I don't have it in my.
It's fake.
Oh, do you have a gold card from your wife that gives you like a pass? Nothing?
No,
Please return home.
No, she doesn't have jurisdiction out here. So if I get in trouble, that's on me. She can't help me out here.
She does at home.
Yeah. She keeps me in line at home.
She keeps.
Hey, two more quick ones for you. One, toughest pitcher that you've faced so far this year is who?
Wow. Faced too many. Lodolo with the Reds was tough for me. Felt like he was throwing. Felt like our first base coach was throwing me BP from the first base box. He was pretty tough and just tough to pick up. He's throwing from way out there. So
Sounds like
you know,
Chris Sale.
yeah. So that's what it felt like. I never faced Sale or something like that, but he was throwing from behind me, and it was tough to pick up for sure.
All right, I have a follow on this, and maybe Kip can say it too. You've had teammates like that. When somebody asks, okay, who's the toughest pitcher you faced? If you were like, dang, hey, Taijuan Walker had some nasty stuff that night we faced him, and you went deep off the second deck. Like, do you have to measure who you say? Because, like, I hit a homer off of Kimbrel, and I'm always like, bro, Kimbrel, easily the best pitcher I ever faced. Yep, easily. Or do you feel like you have to be measured so you're not cocky about it?
Yeah, you'll get some grief in the locker room if you if you say like, yeah, that guy's got good stuff, and they're like, oh, you took him deep, he wasn't that good, and it's like, yeah, but I mean that's my job, and but he still has good stuff. Yeah, you definitely measure it. You definitely got to watch out. If you say that in front of Newbar, he'll let you know that you did take him deep. So
my response to that is this is the major leagues. Almost everybody can take everybody deep, and everybody can strike out everybody. There are guys that I had good numbers off of that I could not pick up for the life of me. Their pitches moved, and it would just be a bloop here or it just spun in. There are guys that I thought belonged in Double-A that I couldn't even put a bat on the ball of. So it's just there's guys who have your number, and there's guys that don't. There's guys who are nasty, and you get hits off of and run into some, and then there's guys who you think are terrible and just absolutely own you.
Yeah, there's some luck involved.
That's what the big leagues are, for sure.
Yeah, there's luck involved for sure. There's luck involved.
There's luck involved,
so,
but there's
a lot of luck involved.
Yeah, believe me,
a lot of luck involved.
I hit over 200 in the big leagues. That is a lot of luck, believe me. But there's something to do with that. Like I remember, I'll never forget. I had a teammate who would every time he'd hit a dinger off of somebody, he'd be like, guys, this guy is tough.
Oh, see, I don't want to hear that.
This guy is so tough. And then he gets out, pops one up, strikes out. He's like, this guy's brutal. This guy's the worst. And you're just like, Uncle, you do not help. Now we're hitting 8 guys in this lineup because you're not helping one of us get a hit.
Yeah.
But
anyway. Those are the worst. Those are the worst for sure.
Yeah.
All right. And here's my last one. I just want to get a scouting report from you on Mason Wynn and hype him up too for what he's been doing this year and how he's part of that young core, which you're involved with as well. We had Liberator on actually the other day, and he described him well. So I wanted to get your thoughts on what he brings to the table, because we were talking about the Tommy Pham thing from the weekend, and Liberator is like, yeah, you probably hate that dude, but you love to play with him. And he's like, Mason Wynn, is chirping all day long and probably pisses some people off, but he freaking we all love him, and he's enthusiastic, all that. So I wanted to get your take.
Yeah, he's a spark plug. He, just the way he, plays defense, the way he takes at bats, it's just, he's just that spark. Whether he's at the top of the lineup or he's towards the bottom, he's just fun to play with, man. And like you said, like he'll chirp and other guys may not like it, but that's who he is. That's how he plays, and he plays the game the right way. And he plays the game tough, fast. Like he's just so fun to watch, and that's the way he's always going to be. He's never going to change. He he was like that from day one when he got up here last year. Like he's going to be who he is, and we love him. We love him, and he we have his back all the time, and he's just a spark plug for us. And I can't wait to watch him kind of grow and hopefully grow with him. With the Cardinals and bring some success to the Cardinals together.
Yeah, big fan. He's going to be good for a long time. Great having you on, man. This was a great conversation. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't be a stranger and keep doing your thing, all right?
Yeah, good luck.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Alec Burleson joining us on FT Live. That was great.
You knew who Theo Vaughn was?
Yeah, he's a big stand-up comedian. He's awesome. I met him too. So what are one of my stories that I have about what you said is guys, the way they handle getting out when they come back to the dugout. One of my favorite stories is Dustin Pedroia from Arizona State. I look up to Dustin. Well, I look about eye level to Dustin, but second baseman, Arizona State, gritty, ridiculously handsome. Like, you can see the comparisons and all this stuff. But with Pat Murphy, who's the Milwaukee manager now, was at Arizona State, and Dustin was one of the best players in college when he was there. And he came back, and one guy got him out, and he was like, "Ooh," he's like, "That was nasty." He was like, "Oh crap!" Or the way he showed it, his body language, everything. Murph pulled him aside, and he's like, "Listen," he's like, "You're the best hitter in this lineup." He's like, "Everyone just looked at you, being like, oh crap, this guy's really good," or something like that. Don't ever do that again. He's because this team goes as you go, so we follow you, we follow your leadership, your body language, everything. So he's like, so even if that's how you feel, come back and be like, this guy sucks or something like that, where it's like you might
There's
be
a way to handle
there's a
it.
way to handle it.
Yeah.
So when someone comes back and like, this guy sucks, it's not always putting him down. Sometimes it's sending a message like, hey, we got this guy today. And I learned that from Murph and Pedroia and all that stuff, to how you can handle it, where you keep the positive vibes and the optimism up. Because if like your best hitter's walking back and it's like he just struck out and he's like, I don't have a chance, everybody else is like, oh crap, what do we got today? So there is a way to handle it that sends a message to your locker room or to your dugout. I think is a good way.
I love that, where it's like you face Skeens and you're like, flat fastballs and dumpy splinkers.
Yeah. Yeah, two guys in a row walk back the same way. You're like, yeah, same.
Yeah,
Same,
exactly. We'll get him next day.
The one I hate even.
I got the good splinker.
The one I hate even worse than that is it's really tough to see up there. Tough.
Yeah.
Tough. You come back.
Shadows
Shadows are really tough, because then some guys are like, they're dumb enough. They're like, I don't see any shadows. But then somebody says that, you walk up there and you're like,
start looking for the shadow.
Like, where's the shadow?
Yeah.
And you're building in excuses, which is, excuses are like butts.
Dude, shadows
Everybody's got
talk,
one.
it takes over the playoffs sometimes with the different start times. It does. It takes
It
over
does.
with the
It
media and with some players. Not all.
It does.
Some players are like, I don't give a crap, we're going out there. But there were some players I spoke to that were like, I can't see right now. Which, if that's true, that's pretty bad.
Do you remember what the worst Shadows ballpark was? I wonder if we have the same answer.
White Sox. I thought the White Sox was awful.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Kansas City?
Milwaukee.
Texas. Old Texas, rather. No.
Really?
So Old Texas was invisible for like 3 innings.
No. Indianapolis. That was the worst. Because they had those like the trees were as thin as my hair in the background, and it was like, you're like, early on you couldn't.
Is that spin or the wind?
Yeah, you're like, Ian Snell struck out like the first 9 batters he faced. It was like a minor league record. I don't know what it was, but yeah, you couldn't see in the first innings there. But no, White Sox for me was brutal. Cloudy days in Chicago, which there's a lot.
It's kind of the same thing. It's the shadows. Whatever we got to tell ourselves to keep us up and optimistic for the next at bat.
In the moment, I don't feel like it is, but after it, I'm like, I don't even know what pitch was coming in. Like, if he had thrown a slider, it would have definitely hit me in the knee. But instead I just hit a speedball off of my knuckles.
All right, let's hit some game/series to preview. Thanks to SeetGeek, the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. They've got you covered for all your baseball ticket needs with over 28 million downloads, the #1 rated ticketing app. And you don't want to miss out on what they bring to the table with the app or on the website. Tickets to every game, concert, festival, the whole deal. But let's talk baseball games. Let's talk series, but not Yankees-Dodgers. That's the theme of this one, because we're going to talk plenty about them. So if you're in another part of the country, can we hand pick a few games where someone might be sitting right now and going, I should head to SeatGeek and get myself a ticket tonight or this weekend? Yes?
I'm kind of a Midwest kind of guy.
You are.
I am. I enjoyed my time in cities like Overland Park outside of Kansas City, Milwaukee, Indianapolis. So I'm a Midwest kind of guy.
You are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Through and
even
through.
though Kip never invites me to Chicago, it's fine. But
It's called.
That's where I'm
I don't
going.
think you're pronouncing it right.
Chicago?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't invite him.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you saying that I would be
He
nerdy?
loves you, but he doesn't want to be embarrassed in front of his friends.
I love you. I just don't want to be seen with you.
Okay. I can feel that out. So we're saying we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Kansas City, and I did it in the last series too, with the Guardians playing Kansas City, and that turned out to be an awesome series. Even though they took the container crates out of Upper Deck, and that's why more home runs are flying out in Cleveland. But we'll talk about that another time. But Kansas City, Seattle, if you think you are a playoff team, you just got done playing the Guardians, who are a playoff team, and you're now playing the American League West, and they are a playoff team, and that pitching staff is suffocating. They're going to annihilate you and win 3-1. Like the games feel out of hand. I talked to a guy from the American League West, and he was like, we just got done facing the Mariners. He said the games were close score-wise. We lost 4-1. He's like, it felt like it was 9-1 because that pitching staff is that good. And that's a player saying those words. So this is a huge test for the Royals.
Yeah, it's a good call. If they had a better lineup, they're the best team in baseball.
By far.
Yeah.
If only we had talked about that in the offseason, trying to pick up some.
Someone actually sent me a little mention this morning and said, hey, you were wrong about their offseason. I was like, I didn't respond yet, but I'm going to. Some petty like that. I'm going to be like, no,
I don't look at that stuff.
Yeah, I was
petty.
right.
Yeah.
I like what DePoto's doing. I hate what his owner's doing. And if they had a better lineup, like another star or two, they would win the World Series this year.
That's the caveat. That's
that
the
bold
caveat
enough for you.
It's relative. Oh, they're having a great year. Yes. Man, if they had added everybody can say, well, what would my team look like if we had added Juan Soto? Even if they added Brandon Belt, who had a 136 OPS, left-handed hitter in that lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, OPS plus, sorry. Left-handed hitter in that stadium still hits dingers. Like, he hit dingers in a home run suppressed park last year in Toronto since they changed everything up. Like, I don't know.
I think they're going to trade for a bat or two at the deadline.
Luis Robert would look good in teal.
Luis Robert, JD Martinez, Pete Alonso. Like, I think they should be shopping at the high end because this pitching staff's ridiculous. So that's a good call. That's the game. That's the series. Underlooked or overlooked.
Yeah.
Overlooked.
Needs to be seen, and baseball needs to promote it. I say that every time I pick a Midwest game. They need to promote it.
You need to promote it.
Don't yell at me.
Don't rely on them. You need to promote it. And every ticket on SeatGeek is backed by their buyer guarantee. It's the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swap. So why are you going anywhere else? And you know FT came through for you. The code is FOUL, F-O-U-L. $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. $20 off your first purchase with promo code F-O-U-L. You just punch it in. You go to your account section and promotions right at the top. Boom, there you go. And then also make sure you click the link in the description of this episode to download the app. I'll drop the link into the chat in a second as well. Spreading rumors time? Sure. We kind of were doing that already.
I kind of dipped into it. That's my bad. I buried the lead.
Do we need to make some fancy animation at some point where like people are all whispering? No. We don't want to do that.
No.
We have really good. They're called front end animations. Yeah. They're really good.
You two at a water cooler.
Yeah, like.
But that's gossip. Ken's not. I hear that. I never really thought Ken came on the one time when we were spreading rumors, and we did the front end right there that just swiped by, and Ken goes. I'd like to make a statement.
Ken's reporting.
We're not spreading
truths
rumors
yet to be confirmed. Or
yes.
How did we word it that one time?
Yep.
Wait, but this is a different segment. I
know, but it was still the spreading rumors.
Spreading rumors is more what we do.
The first one on spreading rumors. I said this before they traded Dylan Cease in the offseason. And AJ, who's not on today, it was like, no way, there's no way. And I'm like, he's coming off of – in the offseason, that would have been the best time. His value was high. People forget that he is injury-prone. And he was in the home run derby smacking dingers. He was in the All-Star game. Just he is a elite talent that when you get away from the fact that Luis Robert is injured,
yeah,
he is going to put up ridiculous numbers. He is a 30-30 candidate year in and year out. Does he have to stay on the field? Absolutely. Does that change his trade value? No, there's such upside. Is he 28?
26.
26? Golly, he keeps getting younger.
Yeah, he's going backwards.
I think, a change of scenery would do him a lot of good, too.
And you need the right people. I believe you need the right people in the clubhouse that – because he's not just a plug-and-play player. He has been on a team that has been to the playoffs, but he's not going to be that guy you're like, oh, we got our team leader now. Don't expect that. So if you plug him into, I'm not saying the Phillies are after him, but you plug him into a place like the Phillies, a place like the Dodgers, who
Established leadership.
You have guys that have the Spanish component taken care of,
Yep.
have the we're all superstars, you're not the only one, like keep up.
Yeah.
And to me, that's where the best fit is. If you plug him into your lineup and you're like, finally, we have our piece that we need. And that's why I said the Mariners, if he can play right field, Julio's the superstar. He can kind of like say, okay, you just want me to steal base, robo bases, and hit quadrangulars?
Could be kind of fun watching the two of them kind of go back and forth on home runs and stolen bases. Maybe a little competition. It brings the best out of each other. I think that would be a good place.
I just – and
Winning
I
baseball.
And I think Julio has established what a Latin player superstar does in that city, in that stadium, and what the team rallies behind. And I think there's so much value in that.
Cities rally behind winning baseball.
Totally.
Plain and simple.
And good players win baseball games.
And good players win baseball games.
Okay, so contrarian side of this, because this week alone we've talked about Erik Kratz and Luis Robert Jr. as potential trade chips. There's a reason why the White Sox are talked about a ton right now in baseball. It's not just because we host a show that also includes a former White Sox player who loves that team. They've lost 14 in a row. That's a very long losing streak. They are potentially going to have an historically bad year, but they actually do have names. They have trade chips. There are other teams that don't have much to offer. The White Sox do.
Rockies.
Yes. Well, they have a couple, but they're not going to trade them. They love them. But the White Sox have Luis Robert and Erik Kratz under team control for years to come. And many White Sox fans are pissed, and they're like, why are you trading our guys? Those are the two names that are going to be here for a while, and you could potentially extend even further. When you're rebuilding again, you need to pick and choose a few that you're then going to move forward with.
You need to accept and realize when your window is. And I don't think the White Sox are a piece or two away in a year or two from now.
Right.
So I think when does Robert come back? Because he's not playing right now.
No, he's back. He just came back.
Just came back.
And whacked a dinger.
I think you give him a few weeks, let him start hitting a little bit better, get that price up. The price is already going to be substantial because of the controllable contract, the young age, the ability. Let him look where he looks like he's good, and that maybe prospects you get back might jump up a couple spots for the White Sox. But I think, again, you have to start looking to the future again, unfortunately.
But he's got club options for 2026 and 2027. Like, he's not a free agent until after 27.
There's so much value in there. That's why I'm saying,
Get pitching.
Value for what the White Sox need. And as White Sox fans, I know you don't listen to me. You listen to AJ. But this is a good thing. This is a good thing for the White Sox. If you're a Rockies fan, you sit there and you go, well, why can't we get something for some of our guys? Why are we not in trade talks? We have something. No, you don't. Like, Rockies fans are not, they're not building.
Hey, we're back. Let's go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're good.
It was actually Kip's fault. That's why he said sorry.
It was. Kip's our tech guy.
Sure.
So back to the White Sox combo for a moment. Kratz was saying how you can get much more of a haul for players under significant years of control. I think that's not a shock to anyone. I just think it's more difficult to pull off deals like that during the season. Like, okay, let's play this game. Do you think that Luis Robert will be traded this season? Do you think that Garrett Crochet will be traded this season? There's 3 questions here. And the third one is, should they be? Because I'm not sure they should trade them. Like, Robert's 26.
I'm
like
not
you
opposed
mentioned.
to
Keep them
trading them. I'd like their value to be a little higher.
You're saying Robert to play a few more weeks again, all that?
I'm saying it because he's under control. You can give it another year maybe to see the White Sox if they're turning it around, if they have there's a light at the end of the tunnel for them, for the White Sox. If there's not, and you're seeing his value's pretty high, I think it's a no-brainer to do it then. But I think because of his control and his age, you can keep that as a building piece and monitor your team's progress. And if you can keep that as someone you'd like to build around if you think you're going to start winning. If you're not going to start winning, what's the point of keeping him?
But also, it's not like he's in decline. Like, he's probably going to be really good for the next.
It's not even in his prime yet.
6 to 8 years.
Yeah. Here's why I think they'll trade him. And
this season.
Yes. Because teams need right-handed power outfield bats.
Mm-hmm.
He is a game changer in what he can do. And I think this is the part that sways it for me. Whether you think Chris Getz is a good GM or not is so hard to say right now. But we have a ex-player as a GM. He understands the dynamic and the value of what a Luis Robert can bring. And in my opinion, if you're Chris Getz and you want to make a splash, not just a splash, if you want to cement your legacy and start a complete change, how we're going to revamp the White Sox organization, you trade Luis Robert and you get an absolute haul for that man because you're building for 3 years from now.
I think you have the luxury of setting the bar or the price, the asking price, very high right now.
Right.
And if someone meets it, great. I think you just keep that as a very high asking price.
And they did that with Cease. In their mind, they had a certain level that they didn't think they hit until basically when the season started, and Cease was traded to the Padres right when they were going out to their Korea trip.
Ex-players make different moves. We saw it with CY, Chris Young, with Texas. Ex-players make different moves. If I'm the GM, that's what I'm doing because I'm not in it for being a GM for 10 years. I'm in it to bring the White Sox back to the World Series in 5 years, playoffs in 3 years.
Okay.
That's my plan. Maybe even what World Series in 4 years. And it's built around whatever the heck we get from Luis Robert.
To be continued. There'll be a lot more combos on those guys, especially if their names keep flying around and spreading rumors. Hey, quick reminder, if you want to support the FT fam, foulterritoryshop.com has multiple versions of hats. After you look at this nice little graphic we have for you with stickers and wristbands and sweatshirts, and I think the best T-shirt out there.
It's the best T-shirt.
It is.
There's no question.
We can also show this off real quick before our next guest. 2 variations of hats. You have your fitted hat and you have your trucker hat.
What are you doing with that trucker hat after you show the audience how cool it is?
When you get married and go bald, you can't wear a trucker hat.
I've got
yeah,
one of those.
These are not for Kratz.
Almost there.
But this one's for Kratz.
Let me see that
right here.
That John's tight.
Okay.
That is a nice hat.
So just throwing that out there. Thanks for the love and the support. Let's preview a series that is getting, I think, as much attention as any so far this season. It involves the 2 top markets in terms of audience in the country, in terms of size.
Pirates?
And, yeah. Who are they playing this weekend?
Blue Jays?
So let's talk Dodgers Yankees right now with Jack Harris. You can follow him at @Jack Harris, making his FT Live debut, and follow all of his work in the LA Times. Love what you do. Been following you for a long time, Jack. Great to have you on, man. Appreciate it. And are you excited to see what these two teams bring to the table, despite the fact that one team is much, much more hot heading into the weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, the Pirates looked pretty good this week. But
That was my trolling.
Yeah.
The Pirates are playing the Twins, not the Blue Jays.
Okay, good.
No, but I think this series, like this is one of the beautiful parts of like the new schedule is you get these kind of matchups on a yearly basis. You get these series that, make you think about a potential World Series preview or something like that. You get Ohtani playing in Yankee Stadium. You get this Dodger team. And probably what will be one of the more hostile environments they face this year. So I think from all those standpoints, like that's what's intriguing about this is just seeing as much the attention that's going into this series. I know a lot of Dodger fans are trying to get up here and travel. The games themselves, it's still just a series in early June. On the Dodgers side, they downplayed this being any sort of like measuring stick series for them or something like that. Like Dave Roberts was upset that they had to use as many relievers as they did last night. Because he wanted to save some of them for New York. So, it's not maybe a perfect representation, but to get at least a 3-game sample here and see how these teams look against each other is going to be interesting. I think that the high point of the Dodger season this year is when Atlanta came to LA and they won that series. And I think you have a similar opportunity here to at least make some sort of smaller midseason statement about where they're at, especially with how up and down they've been the last couple of weeks.
So is it not a big series because the Dodgers aren't playing to their best and it's like, well, you didn't get us at our best? Or is it not a big series because the Dodgers just have to give the vanilla answer of, well, it's just another game in June, because the games in June count the same as the games in September?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the latter, and that's how the Dodgers have for a long time looked at regular seasons, right? I mean, even this year, when they faced the D-backs for the first time, they really downplayed any sort of revenge narrative. They've done the same thing with the Padres in the past, with the Braves in the past. And I think it's the same calculus here. They have a strong organizational philosophy of like, we just got to treat everything in the regular season as the next game, as the next series. And I think part of that also is it's a club that knows, it's really only getting judged in October with how deep they go in the postseason, with how well they do. Trying to get back to the World Series and winning it. So I think this does add a little bit of juice or energy into the schedule when you get to play in this kind of environment. Mookie Betts, that was the point he made last night when he was talking about these games coming up is, it's going to be a really fun atmosphere to play in. But I think beyond that, you're getting these teams at a point where obviously, you have the Soto storyline now. The Dodgers were kind of scuffling and are coming off a series loss in Pittsburgh. So for them, they just want to try to play good baseball and win a couple games up here. They're not indulging in the rest of the hype around, the matchups and the markets and all that.
Jack, Jason Kipnis here. First off, fellow ASU alum. Am I reading that correct?
Right, yeah.
My man.
Cut the cord.
I want to focus a little bit on Mookie right now because some of his quotes these last few days, and I know that Dave Roberts talked a little bit about his defense, or he talked about the whole team's defense a little bit. What are you seeing out of Mookie's defense, and do you think it's impacting his swing? I know he said it didn't. He said he's felt the best he has in a long time. From your point of view, what are you seeing? Do you think it's having an impact? And if it is, and if you think the Dodgers were to ever make a switch, where would that, if they move Mookie back to right or something, who comes into play short? How would you see the moving pieces also going?
Yeah, I mean, I think just starting with his defense, it's been probably about as good as you could have expected for a guy who just hadn't played this position since high school. That said, there have been games like last night where he commits an error. He had a couple other balls that he was able to get to but couldn't turn into outs. He was not the only guy who had a bad defensive game for the Dodgers last night. There were 6 or 7 misplays that led to the high reliever usage and things like that. But, for him personally, he takes that really personally. He's putting in a lot of time before games to try to shore up the defense, to try to, prove that he can play shortstop at the big league level on an everyday basis. That's where the workload part, the body fatigue part, how he's feeling physically all comes in because of how much work he's doing pregame, how much energy he's expending on the defensive side. There were always going to naturally be questions about could he balance that, with the bat, with his offensive production. He was really good the first month of the season. He cooled off a little bit early in May, and then up before last night was in a 2 or 3 week stretch where he really wasn't performing well at the plate. Now, Dave Roberts was adamant about this. Mookie Betts was adamant about this, that they don't think the cause of that is because he's playing shortstop, because he's taking extra grounders pregame, because he's having to spend more mental energy on learning this position. But that said, it is a big workload, and it is something that very few players, even guys of Mookie Betts' athletic caliber, can handle doing over a 6-month season. So I think that's the stage that the Dodgers are in right now. They're happy with his defense. I think their expectation is that it'll just keep getting better the more time he puts in at the position. I think they're comfortable with the idea of having Mookie be their shortstop for the rest of the year if that's the way it plays out. At the same time, I don't think that they're going to ignore, looking at the shortstop spot when it comes to the trade deadline, when it comes to, okay, what is going to be the best roster construction for our team? And if Mookie isn't the shortstop at some point this season, I think it's almost certainly he's going to be going back to second base. He's made it pretty clear that, when he's playing the infield, it keeps him a little bit more engaged. It keeps him feeling fresher, with the work, even with the work he's putting in at shortstop. Like he said last night, he feels like this is the best he's been physically since he was 21 or 22 years old. So he's really come around as a guy who wants to play the infield first. And I think the Dodgers also want that. I think they think that's the best setup for him. And it makes these next couple months really interesting to see how that situation plays out, how the Dodgers view that spot. And when they start looking at moves they might make at the deadline, do they look at Mookie Betts as locked in as their everyday shortstop for the rest of the season? Or do they factor in, okay, we can make a move there and maybe move him back to second if we need to make some pieces fit?
Well, I think it takes a otherworldly athlete to go from the outfield to the infield. I think there's only a very special breed that can do that. As I pat myself on the back, who didn't do it well at all. But I think I want to make a comment on what Mookie's doing right now, because it is very hard to do. I had about a year and a half, but I did it in the minor leagues where I made the adjustment. I wasn't making it on the fly at the major league level, which is what Mookie Betts is doing, which is incredibly impressive. He is using a lot of energy, where when you're having to take all these extra ground balls before games every day, where other days you might have just hit in the cage before the game and gone out and played that day and saved some of that energy, especially from the long season and in this heat in the summer months, he's having to stay on top of his defense because he's like a perfectionist. He wants it. It means a lot to him, and he wants to be a great shortstop, and he knows it's a big switch. So I don't want to undersell how much energy he is using, and he may not admit to it, but that's what's happening. And also, it really does go to show where it's like Mookie's switching positions and switching to the infield, having to take ground balls, and now you're talking about how much energy he's using. Again, Shohei, who does it with hitting and pitching, just that's how much time some of these guys have to put in to be as special as they are, because those are two of the more special guys in this entire league.
Yeah, and even after a game like last night, Mookie's saying, "Oh, I didn't play this ball correctly, so tomorrow it's back to the drawing board. It's back out there early, working on this kind of play." And that's how he's approached it, and it's what's helped him progress as fast as he has defensively. But yeah, at the same time, it raises these questions about, okay, how much of a toll is he putting on himself physically, and is it something that can be sustained for the full season?
It's one thing to make your errors in a minor league game and with no one really watching, or in a small city, or take extra ground balls where they might even give you a day off. But just, again, I got to give him credit. To do it at a major league level on the fly like he's doing is ridiculous.
Hey, Jack, question that's just circulating in our busy chat right now because everyone's excited about this series. Let's start looking forward. Next month is the trade deadline, so you're very much allowed to talk about this. In June, we've already gotten very deep into trade talk, so let's focus on the Dodgers. So two things. One, what needs to be fixed? And two, how does that get fixed? Whether it's names or just ideas, I know it's early. What are you thinking about?
I think the obvious one right now is that the production at the bottom of the lineup just has not been consistent enough. Basically, outside of Miguel Rojas and Gavin Lux and Jason Hayward to some extent the last couple weeks, that 6, 7, 8, 9 part of the order has been a liability for the Dodgers. Kike Hernandez has been up and down. Chris Taylor has been in a really, really tough spot since the start of the year. You throw in Max Muncy's injury, which has kept him out the last couple weeks here, and suddenly this Dodger offense looks too top-heavy. And at times that's come back to bite them, especially when, you have Mookie, who's a little off, or Shohei, who went through a little bit of a slump the last couple weeks. That part's become, I think, a little bit exposed here the first 2 months. So how you fix that, that's where, you look at this trade market and you start asking yourself, okay, the Dodgers, They can add in the outfield. They can add in the infield and move pieces around. It's not as if they're boxed into just one specific spot they need to look at, but is that impact bat going to be there? Is a Luis Robert, can you get a guy of that kind of caliber? Would that be enough? Would that be worth the prospect capital? Could you make the money part work? I think right now the Dodgers are looking at it kind of broadly where it's like, okay, you're probably going to be looking for an offensive upgrade somewhere over the next couple months, but it's who are you plugging in? How much trust do you have in your group internally? So I think there's still more of that, trying to take full stock of what they have, where they're going to need to either add or replace guys in the lineup, and then are there the guys on the market that match that spot? Because I think when you look at the rest of the team, the bullpen's pretty banged up right now, but guys are going to come back. They have a lot of they're going to have a lot of depth there to mix and match pieces, especially when you start thinking about an October environment. To this point, Tyler Glasnow has been pretty good. Yoshinobu Yamamoto has looked a lot better over the last couple weeks, and the Dodgers have a lot of starting pitchers coming back. So the offense is the one spot right now that's a pretty glaring need, but I think there's a lot of different ways you can do that, whether it's can you wait out a shortstop? If Toronto's maybe going to move a Bo Bichette, are they in on that market? Those are all just like very kind of general possibilities, but it speaks to how the Dodgers are going to have a lot of different options. They just have to take some time right now to figure out, which path is going to make the most sense and what changes to the lineup, how drastic of changes to the bottom of the lineup are they going to need.
When you're in a clubhouse and you're seeing Shohei interact, seeing him or talking to him, is there a sense when it's a big series like this, like the Braves series, like the Yankees series, you hear the words that they say? Do you feel like Shohei has a different step, like a different vibe about him, because he comes up huge in these series? And I'm not saying other guys don't, but he only has to focus on hitting. But do you feel a sense of a little more energy from him because he understands? Players from Japan understand the Yankee. Masahiro Tanaka told me, he said, the best team in America is the Yankees. That's why I want to only play for the Yankees. Do you sense that he is juiced for this series?
To your first point, Ohtani does seem to at least perform really well in big moments, right? Like I think even this year, he goes to Toronto, he's getting booed, he hits a home run in his first at-bat. You think back to last year's World Baseball Classic, even like the matchup with Paul Skeens earlier this week where he strikes out on 3 pitches in his first trip up there and then comes back and hits a home run to straightaway center. Now, where that comes from, this is where some of the closed-off nature of Ohtani makes it tough to pinpoint what it is exactly that motivates him. But I think, there's something to the fact of a guy who, really cares about baseball beyond just his own career, right? Like he makes a lot of references to players he watched growing up and some of the more historical aspects of the game. He went to Wrigley Field for the first time this year and talked about, how historic of an environment that was and how much he enjoyed playing there. And I think it's a similar thing here. I remember and there's been times in the past, I think back to 2021 when he came to New York and Yankee fans were booing him and he had a big series. So I think there's something to that, understanding when there's a big moment and an opportunity to perform in a big moment. But I don't know if, he's coming and saying, oh, I have to have a great series here. I think it's more when he gets in those environments, he's one of these players who's able to keep his composure and channel his emotions and perform when, it is a spotlight moment. There's a lot of people watching.
Jack, do we have any update on Clayton Kershaw from your end?
Yeah, he's
timetable maybe.
He started throwing live ABs. He's throwing a 2-inning sim game this weekend with the team's low A affiliate in Rancho Cucamonga. So far, I mean, this is about the progression that Kershaw and the Dodgers were hoping for back at the start of the year. Kershaw himself said in spring training he was targeting sometime in late July and August to try to get back on the mound. And when you look at the timeline now, he's in this stretch of probably for the next couple of weeks doing some live situations, some sim games, things like that. If that continues to progress well, he would go out on a rehab assignment. So you're talking about, if he keeps checking these boxes in a month or two, it being realistic that he could be back on the mound. The key thing is always how the shoulder is feeling. Is it bouncing back between outings well? Is he holding his stuff in outings as he continues to build up the workload? So those are things that only get answered in time. But for a guy who underwent a major shoulder surgery at the end of last season, right now you can see the pathway where if things keep going well, he could be back on the mound and contributing to this team by the last couple months of the year.
All right. I guess nobody asked it, so I have to ask it, and it kills me to ask it. Chris Taylor, what is the next step for the Dodgers? Because the Dodgers want to win. As a player, I want to see Chris Taylor get back to what Chris Taylor was, but what is the next step for the Dodgers with Chris Taylor?
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. I think at the moment there's not the roster crunch or the roster pressure for anything to be imminent. As long as Max Muncy's out hurt, they're not going to need to make a roster move. And even when he comes back, they could just option Miguel Vargas back down to the minors, or maybe something else happens between now and then. So as long as there's not a roster crunch, they're going to keep giving him time to try to work through the swing issues that he's been working through. He tried this offseason to go back to some of the mental cues and mechanical feels that he used when he first made the swing change, when he got to the Dodgers, the one that turned him into an all-star caliber player. It just didn't work. Over time, your body changes. The moves that once might have worked, and the way he described it, like they just don't anymore. And it's taken him time to recalibrate where his swing and his body is at right now to try to get his mechanics back in sync and find something at the plate that's going to work for him. But I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. He's a guy who was batting under 100 for a lot of the year and is batting in the low hundreds right now. He's not playing very much. There's been a lot of behind the scenes work trying to find something. My guess is that at least until the deadline, unless the Dodgers do have a big roster crunch, I think he'll probably stay on the roster and the team will keep giving him that leash, which, he's earned. Like, this has been one of the more important players for this franchise the last 6 or 7 years. When you look back on this run of success, he's had a lot of big moments, and there is internal belief, or at least hope, that there's still a productive player and a productive swing in there that he can get back to. So they want to give him time to figure it out. I look at the trade deadline as probably the time where there could be a lot of bigger picture roster moves for the Dodgers, or just kind of a reorganization of where the roster stacks up. So, when I look at his season right now, it's okay. Over the next couple months, can you start to put together some more consistent production? Can you start to put together or show that your swing's in a better place? If he can, I think he could stick around and be a bench option for them the rest of the year. If he can't, I think it just makes this situation even more difficult for the Dodgers as they try to look at, or decide, is this a guy we can keep on our team for a World Series and pennant push?
All right, last one here. We got a minute. What is the biggest surprise from the Dodgers season, good or bad?
I think it's that for how well the guys at the top of the order have performed for most of the year, it's that the offense maybe isn't a little bit better. Now, that's not to say it's been a bad offense. They're still top 5 or 6 in the majors in batting average and OPS and scoring. But for a lot of this year, you had Shohei and Mookie playing like MVP candidates. You had Freddie Freeman and Will Smith playing like at least all-star caliber players. You've had Oscar Hernandez, who's got 13 home runs and is among the team leaders in RBIs. Like, a lot of things offensively have gone right for them. And I think you just would have expected that if you were getting that kind of production out of those caliber of players, you would be leading the majors across the board in offense, right? And this is where, when you evaluate the Dodgers, like, things always get nitpicky, because this team, like, the bar is being the best. It is winning a championship. And when you evaluate the regular season, you're not judging them against other teams so much as like their potential. And I think that's been maybe the biggest surprise so far, is that the offense hasn't quite gotten there, even with some of the really good individual performances that they've had.
I'm with you. Great call. Jack, great to have you on the show, man. Really appreciate the time. Everyone check out his work. I'll give it a plug one more time as we say goodbye, and we'll post some of these clips to our Twitter account too, for people to check out your work. But great having you on. Enjoy the series. It's going to be fun.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's Jack Harris with us, FT Live. And we do have a Dodgers show, so I'm sure Jack will make an appearance on there at some point. He'll get an invite, because Alana Rizzo is nice like that, and she's a superstar Dodgers guest booker along with Clint Pasillas. They actually had 3 shows this week. They did a special Pirates-Dodgers post-game show the other day, which is still a fun listen, especially with a cocktail if you're age eligible. And then otherwise, they did a show yesterday. So you can check that out. Also, if you're on the go and you're a Dodgers fan, then the podcast version works well for you. You know what to do. Just type in Dodgers territory. And I mentioned Jack Harris one more time. He's LA Times and at by Jack Harris if you want to give him a follow. All right, next up, this is very relevant. No, thank you for organizing the set. We have AG1 travel packs because we are on the road right now. Mine is taking a little bit of a hit, but
Stays
it's in great
together,
shape.
though.
Yeah.
Way better than the plastic that I used to bring when I used to have to scoop
My point
vitamins
is,
in.
yes, this is what you do instead of having to bring like a freaking
tub.
Yes, that's the word.
That
Thank
gets
you.
flagged in security.
Yes. So, Kratz is drinking AG1 every morning, as am I. We're going to get Kip on that train. So, pre-workout, we were all at the gym together today, actually, along with 9,000 other people who somehow like to work out at 7:30 in the morning in Las Vegas.
Everybody was there.
Everyone. Literally everyone. They
Vegas
sent out an invite.
Vegas is not making any money because people are up at 7:30 in the morning. We're here for work.
Yeah.
People are up at 7:30 in the morning. I don't know what they did last night.
I saw a new side of Vegas this morning. I didn't know people do that.
I didn't either.
Well,
I've been up at
Not to
7:30
that
in the morning.
extent. Yeah. Right. Different, though.
Good.
When he says up, he means stay up. So, which makes it more important to
you're right.
explain.
I got it. It took me a little
I
while.
got you.
The sponsor, AG1, is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut health support and backed by multiple research studies so you can trust what you're putting in your body. Unlike other products, which only test their ingredients in isolation, AG1 tests their formula as a whole. I'm sitting next to two athletes that needed everything NSF certified. Obviously, they fill that void and more. 97% of people in a research study felt more energy after 30 days of drinking AG1. So we're recommending that product for you to support whole body health. And we have them as a new partner. So start your journey with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/foul. That's drinkag1.com/foul. Go check it out. And we love our FT sponsors making all of this happen. Ken's coming up in just a moment. So we're looking forward to that.
Is he doing the Twins-Pirates game this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
So nice. I'm so glad.
I don't like the way you're talking about a team that won the division last year in the American League Central. That still has a shot to win it this year. Well, that would cover a lot, but
Yeah.
I didn't say which one.
Every
Actually,
other
it
game.
was a shot in the dark, I assumed.
You got a 50-50 chance. It's like the old over-under on every game. 50-50.
exactly. Where are we at with the Twins, by the way? How far back are they right now?
I think they're
They are 7.5.
Good
I think
luck.
they're 3 out of the wild card, though.
Good luck.
Or
They have a wild card.
they have
They're
a wild
33
card
and
now.
29. They're holding a wild card seat.
Are they the last spot?
I got to look.
Wow, I was way off on
So
that.
the Guardians lead the division. Yes, I know. The Royals have a wild card seat. So do the Twins. So do the Orioles.
Call.
Those are your three right now. But let's get the inside scoop from someone who doesn't miss a beat. Ken Rosenthal with us right now. Wow, look at this.
I mean, this is strong Ken right now.
This is really strong.
Ken.
It's a strong connection. It looks
Boots
like
on
a
the
gorgeous
ground.
day. Yes, boots on the ground. He is covering Dodgers Yankees this weekend. So how is it there, Ken? Looks like weather-wise a beautiful day.
Hideous.
It's beautiful, yeah, no question about it. In fact, for New York this time of year, it's pretty great. And you see the Dodgers taking some early BP behind me. And obviously there's a lot of anticipation for this series. And obviously everyone is waiting to hear about Juan Soto and just how he's doing with that left forearm.
Yeah, so let's double-click on that. What are you hearing? And this is not something that popped up a day ago, too. So we just heard that it's been, about a week and a half since it's been a problem for him?
Right, Scott, not hearing anything yet. And he was getting
Okay.
imaging, I believe, early this afternoon. After that, we'll know. I know Yankee fans are freaking out because this is the same kind of thing, same verbiage you heard last year with Dominguez before he had Tommy John. Obviously, there's no sense speculating right now until we know a little bit more, and I would imagine we'll know more today.
What questions are you going to ask Juan or staff, like, as far as if it is something? Are you going to ask around, well, hey, I'll just let you ask. What kind of questions are you going to ask? Because I was thinking, like, does he DH, like a Harper kind of thing, or is it that will put him on the IL?
That's a great question for starters, Erik. And it's different with Juan Soto because why? He's a free agent at the end of the season. So he might determine it's best to have the surgery now. He might determine it's best to play. But I would think he'd probably want it sooner than later. So for his next team, he's as healthy as soon as possible. To answer your question, which question would I ask? I would want to know why there wasn't imaging sooner. And there might be a very good reason for that. Maybe it was, in his mind, minor and they didn't see a real reason to do anything. But that's a question that's kind of lingering right now. If it's hurting you for a week and a half, why don't you get it imaged right away? But again, we're all jumping to conclusions here, and there might be a very valid reason why he decided to wait. Maybe he just thought it was nothing and it would go away. Maybe he's had this kind of thing before and it went away. So, again, it's a little early to talk about any of the possibilities here, but clearly there are all kinds of implications. Implications, perhaps, for this great Yankees team that we've seen dominate the first 2+ months. Implications, of course, for Soto's future. I don't know that it would affect his free agency too much because he's going to sign a long, long deal. But at the same time, he'd rather go into free agency with a monster season than one in which he is dealing with an elbow issue or surgery.
And for more on that dominance, you wrote about the Judge-Soto combination. So can you give us a little summary of what to expect for people that haven't seen the article yet?
Yeah, this was a fun one, Scott. And in spring training, someone with the Yankees came up to me and said, hey, you tell me, better left-right combination in Major League history. And I was thinking, come on, man. Shohei and Mookie might be better right now. Freddie and Mookie might be better right now. So now the season's played out a little bit, and that Yankee official texted me about 2 weeks ago saying, what are you thinking? And I started doing research on the numbers, not just the current guys, but through the live ball era, going back to 1920. And it's interesting. Right now, I used OPS plus. These two guys, Judge and Soto, are 1-2 in OPS plus, right, left. Only twice before have we seen 1-2 in OPS plus. 1989, this one surprised me. Kevin Mitchell and Will Clark. In 1959, Milwaukee Braves, Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews. All the other ones, the other combinations you might think of, were never 1-2. Now, obviously, Ruth and Gehrig, both left-handed hitters, they were 1-2 in 6 or 7 seasons, I believe. And you have circumstances with switch hitters that don't figure into what I was writing about. But all I was talking about was left-right, right-left. And these two, at the present rate, would be one of the all-time great combos.
What about Edgar and Griffey?
I looked at Edgar and Griffey, and they were never the best from each side in a given season. They were great. What about Ortiz and Ramirez? I looked at all of these. And DiMaggio and Gehrig was another one. DiMaggio and Gehrig, they were first and third in 1937. So, again, I was looking for 1-2, guys, the best from each side, and it's only happened twice. And right now it's happening again. Let's hope Soto stays healthy. We can see the rest of this play out.
Yeah, but these guys are doing it against people throwing 85.
Well, it's a little different. There's no question about it. It's a little different right now. Even Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell, they were not facing pitching quite like this, right? I mean, it's just not the same.
No, it's a good call. I think about Trout when he's been on this show a couple times, and he mentions it every time. Trout's like, when I came into the league versus now, he's like, damn, man. And obviously, he's still putting up crazy numbers when he's on the field, but he's like, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's so much more challenging to hit a baseball in his mind. All right, I want to take us in a different direction. I've seen this pop up on various shows and in various baseball conversations, and just wanted to get your take on this, Ken. With all of the parity that has popped up, especially in the National League this year, number one, do you think it will hurt the trade deadline? And number two, do you think this is going to continue to set a precedent for teams to feel that the middle is okay, that you don't have to be all in or all out? Because I'm wondering if that's good for the game.
Scott, two great questions. And I addressed this a little bit on Fair Territory yesterday with Alana. Obviously, when you have this many teams still in contention, and granted, we're almost 2 months from the deadline, some of these teams will fall out of it, right? But when you have this many this close, there are going to be a shortage of sellers. And keep in mind, last year, August 14th, the Diamondbacks were still under 500. They were 59-60. They wind up with 84 wins. Great year considering where they were, but that gives these lesser teams hope. Now, to your other question, this was a concern the union had with expanded playoffs. Will certain teams just not feel like they need to try because obviously they're going to get in? What we've seen so far, to me, does not support that. And you look at the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, those teams have all spent big still. Even though expanded playoffs, the Dodgers, for instance, they're going to get in. We all know they're going to get in. So I don't know that it's limited teams at the top. And then you say, okay, what about the middle? Will teams just not try? But actually, it seems to me, and Scott, you have a different opinion. Feel free to let me know. But it seems to me teams like the Royals, the Tigers, the Reds, they're trying harder. And they've spent some money. Now, it's not across the board. The Pirates are still the Pirates, of course. But even the Pirates signed a few free agents last offseason. So it seems to me, for the most part, teams are trying to get in. And they're just trying to get into the postseason and spending some money to do that rather than simply saying, you know what, this is not a big deal. We don't have to do anything.
Yeah, the one follow I have is the winning window conversation. Most of the time, it's just not so clear cut, right? The Rangers' winning window was supposed to start this year. Oops, it started last year and they won the World Series. So do you think that's the other part of the conversation where, we do have front offices that are so heavily reliant on data and projections that sometimes they overlook the fact that their team might be better sooner and worse later?
Scott, bingo. And you're hitting something with me that hits a nerve because it drives me nuts when teams will say, we're not quite ready yet. We're good, but we're not as good as we're going to be in 3 years. Guys, you have a chance to win, chance to even get into the playoffs. Let's take Pittsburgh as an example. And I know I've harped on this, but I'm going to keep harping on it. They have a chance here to end a cycle of losing. They've got Skeens and Jones. Now, I know they'll be on innings limits at some point. I understand that you can't go all out with them this year. What you can do is make some moves at the deadline to reinforce what you have, to get some more offense. Act like a team that has a chance instead of playing for tomorrow. And an old baseball writer friend of mine once said, you keep playing for tomorrow and you never win today. And it's so true.
That's a great comment. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely a tomorrow question, not for actual tomorrow, but the all-star race. How do you see it shaping up? And it's going to get us to the hot topic button items of, does Paul Skeens get in? Is he the Pirates candidate? Should we have young guys that maybe don't deserve it? Where do you see that playing out?
All right, I'm always on the side, Erik, of a guy like Paul Skeens getting in. And I don't care if he's only made X number of starts or pitched that many innings, whatever. Is this guy a star right now in this game? Is he someone fans want to see? That's the criteria here. Do fans want to see a player? I remember going way back about 20 years ago, Dontrell Willis was Paul Skeens at one point. And they had to move mountains and everything else to get him into the All-Star game, and it was ridiculous. So to me, a guy like that, it's almost an automatic. Even if he's not the most deserving, even if he doesn't have the most innings, it doesn't matter. He is a star. There's no question. Guys like Ellie De La Cruz kind of fall into the same category. You want to see him on the field. So that's where I am with this. There are going to be some interesting things going on here, and AL shortstop certainly is one of them. You've got Gunnar, you've got Bobby Witt Jr., you've got Volpe having a really good year as well, and you've got Corey Seager, World Series MVP, at a time when the All-Star game, is being played in his home park. So are Texas fans going to stuff the ballot box? Is Bobby Witt or Gunnar Henderson going to be denied because of that? That's one thing that is going to be really interesting. And the other one, National League outfield. No Acuna, Harper's at first base, Mookie's somewhere in the infield behind me. You don't have the same outfielders that you've had in the past. You've got guys like Jerkson Profar and Jesse Winker leading NL outfielders in OPS. So that's going to be an interesting one to play out as well.
Well, Ken, though, if Skeens is such a star and he's obviously getting a lot of coverage here, like the star that he is, he's going to be in an all-star for many years to come. What do you say then to that one guy who's knocking on the door, or maybe he has a chance to be that one-time all-star that's deserving, that Skeens would probably take the spot of? So I'm with you where fans probably want to see Skeens in there. They're going to for a lot of years. But how are you going to handle that, or how are you going to approach that conversation to player X that isn't always going to be there for years to come?
Jason, very fair question. My answer to that would be, are we really sure Paul Skeens is going to be here in 2 years or 3 years? We don't know that. We don't know what's going to happen.
You're probably more sure than player X.
You probably are more sure than player X. That's fair. But at the same time, I go back to this is a fans game. And we have all MLB teams at the end of the year that are voted on by media and experts in the game that are deserving honor for players like player X, the one we're talking about. I just believe the most exciting players should be there. And yeah, certainly there are going to be some snubs. But Jason, my gosh, you've seen this. I've seen this over the years. There's something like 80 All-Stars now. By the time all the guys back out, the injured guys, it seems to be everyone gets a participation trophy. That hasn't been a problem.
Wow.
Easy,
love
Ken.
that.
I like
Sometimes
it.
we,
I love that from Ken.
it's a very select few, and it's an honor.
No. It's 10% of the sport getting to the All-Star game every year.
Ken bringing
It's not the
absolute
Pro Bowl
fire.
for the NFL.
Hey, when Ken's in New York, he brings a little extra fire. He's diminishing your
That's right.
All-Star.
Oh,
and
what I'm hearing.
he's diminishing my career because I never made an All-Star game.
I'm not diminishing anything. All I'm saying is, guys, I don't think, for the most part, we'll talk when the selections are made or who got snubbed, who should be in the game.
Yep.
Those guys invariably get in. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I know. And
Good
we're
save.
giving you a hard time because you're in New York and you're enjoying it. One last question here, because Claudia wants it to be the last question. We'd love to have you on for a lot longer.
He also has a job to do.
Blame
We need
Claudia.
Soto news.
Whatever. We need the Saudi. we need the Soto news. But my question is skills competition in the All-Star game. Are you for or against it? Because my opinion is we put a machine up and they start firing balls at 100 miles an hour. Then they turn it up to 105. Then they turn it up to 110. And we just go and see how long it takes till guys can't hit it anymore. That's one of the skills. Are you for or against the skills competition in the All-Star game?
Eric, I am for fun. And if that is something that people think is going to be fun, let's have at it. And we can certainly juice up the All-Star game beyond the Derby. The Derby, for me, I don't want to say it's jumped the shark, but it's great. People love it, and I love the fact that it gets people into the game and people have fun with it. But can we do more? Yeah, we can do more. I'd like to see Ellie De La Cruz race whoever might be the second fastest guy in the league. How about Tatis? Now, I know players probably wouldn't do that because it's a risk of injury, but anything along those lines would be cool.
Yeah, I agree. And we brought this up because of the futures game. So for any fans that are like, why is this coming up randomly? They're going to have some of these, not Kratz's idea, but they're going to have some fun games, some competitions that I think is cool too. I agree. Why not? Try it out. It's an entertainment.
Minor leaguers.
They do it in Japan. They do it.
Yeah, they do it. They have the bunting drills in Japan. So it's going to be fun. Ken, enjoy the series, and we'll look out for Report Yes.
Ken, I know you knew AJ wasn't going to be on today, so he wasn't going to say anything about your shirt. But, man, that shirt is hot. You glurbing tonight?
No.
Looking sharp, Kenny.
I'm doing my usual. I'll be in the hotel room, you know. But I appreciate the compliment, Eric. Eric, I appreciate the compliment because, of course, AJ is constantly criticizing my choice of attire. And AJ also missed this week while he's in posh London. I was at a Residence Inn, and you couldn't comment on that either. Maybe we'll bring that back for next week.
I think
exactly.
we should.
Oh, I'm gone next week,
too.
So AJ will be all over me. Yeah, AJ's back hot next week on Monday, and so is Ken. Thank you so much, Ken. Appreciate you. Enjoy the series.
Thanks, guys.
FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal and Star of Fair Territory, which you can check out on Monday for a new episode, or you can check out yesterday's new episode on YouTube or wherever you get your pods. The Thursday show features Ken along with Alana Rizzo and many of your questions. And I will give a Captain Obvious take and prediction that his show will get more love over the next 2-ish months than it's gotten in a minute. It'll hit some all-time highs because they're taking live questions from fans who will have trade questions, and who better to ask than the dude that breaks all the stories.
We got to check out his shoulder game too, by the way, because he was holding that camera like this
Steady.
the
Steady
whole
Eddie.
time. Steady.
It was good.
That was good. That was really good.
It was a 7. You
I mean, buy the man a selfie stick one time.
Or you do the under.
You think Ken, all the respect that Ken has, he's going to go out and give an elbow?
Hey, Ken's hip. And it is the way, if you don't have anything, to keep it even more steady this.
You're teaching me something.
Other
new
people
every
would
day.
be looking around at him and wondering, how he got that skill set. But anyway, let's get to
where he got that shirt.
Todd Father. Todd Father's actually going to make a little appearance for us, thanks to Baseballism, the official lifestyle brand of baseball. So we're trying to mix in minute clips here and there on the show for the kiddos. We get asked about that a lot, and we have big leaguers who give good advice and probably are better than your average Little League coach. No offense to any of you out there that do that. I'm just saying some are good and some are terrible. So here's Todd Father, who coaches like 9 games a week with a little hitting tip. A weekend, true. A little hitting tip from Todd Father.
Hey guys, a simple drill of hitting is not letting yourself cast. So when we talk about casting, it means we're getting around the baseball, all right? Our hands are getting detached from our body. When we want to stay inside and carry that same plane as we go forward to have a level swing. So if we're casting, my first swing is going to boom, now I'm hitting this tee. The thing you want to do in this drill is not hit this tee. It sounds easier said than done, but it can be. If I keep our hands inside the ball, that tee will never get hit. The more we do this drill, the better we're going to be. So we see faster pitching, it goes from A to B instead of A, B, C. Now we get too long. As you see here, too much space. We want to minimize that space. Again, find a board, an L screen, something to hinder you from hitting that spot. Boom, get it on the tee, inside the ball. That doesn't move and your hands are in the right position.
Good stuff, Top Father. And Patrick
Why didn't anybody ever tell me about that?
What, that drill? Patrick goes, just got to get around that baseball, big dog.
That's what I thought he was going to say. Hey, big dogs. I thought he was going to give us a big dog out
big
there.
dog. Yeah.
Still got some bat speed. I think every hitter should work on going the opposite gap. I think that's how you should hone your swing the most. That should be what you work on the most. The other stuff takes care of itself after that.
Some dudes are being trained to just pull everything into the air.
Those dudes we like to call guys who aren't going to make it.
So it is working for a very select few.
Tell me who.
Yeah.
Paredes.
Okay.
You need me to say more?
I do.
No.
If you're
there are more though.
Because
we're
talking
I'm not saying,
baseballism for kids here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying pull doesn't work. I'm not saying you're never going to pull a pitch or pull an inside pitch or turn on one with your swing thinking the other way. I think that just gives you the highest chance for success when that's your swing path and staying inside of baseball.
When you're
staying
practicing.
through it.
When you're practicing.
Because I think then you're covering the most angles there and most of the plate.
Giving yourself the best chance to look out over and react in.
It's a great drill. Really good drill.
It's a great drill. I'm ready to go hit.
Good job, Todd Father. Thanks to Baseballism for helping us put that together, the official lifestyle brand of baseball. Ump Show time.
Steer right.
That guy calls strike every time. Every time he calls strike.
We got some guys today that were calling strikes.
Every time.
Every time.
Do you notice how I said that for a reason? Did you catch last out of the Padres Diamondbacks game last night? Because Padres fans did.
Yeah,
and
yes,
they are
they did.
still holding on to it for the last 24 hours on socials.
They're strong.
Who was it? Mark Grant on the call, on the Padres call
I'm
that
not
said
100% sure.
No, but he said a word that was funny because he couldn't say a curse word. But here's the pitch.
You got to be shaving me.
So if you're watching, you're seeing it. But if you're on
Look
the
at
pod
Seawalt.
listening later, Paul Seawalt gets strike 3 on the extreme outside corner of the zone. Mike Schill comes out to argue it. Jake Cronenworth wisely took the pitch. Or maybe he shouldn't. Maybe you need to protect the plate against the pitch that's sailing away from the plate.
I talked about this. Was it yesterday? Were you on when we talked about this? We're not protecting the plate in the show at 100 miles an hour. You cannot give this much extra Not everybody is that good of a hitter. You cannot protect the plate. Umpires can't make hitters protect the plate. Can you hit on the borders? Absolutely. Can you hit like there's some guys that do not swing even on the border, and they only swing inside the zone, which I understand that's a skill, that's an ability. Balls, you can't expect big league hitters to cover balls and strikes at what the guys are throwing up there these days.
I've seen worse. I think we've all seen worse called on guys. You just hate it's just the scope's on you when it's the last pitch of the game and ends the game with a guy on base and you're down one. You can't. Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want the game to be ended on the umpire's hands or on the umpire's call.
And you're about to lose 5 straight, and you've scored 11 runs during that time
Even
period.
more frustrating then,
right?
You want
the
players to decide the game. I'm not saying. Listen, the umps have a hard enough time calling pitches. We've seen that at times. You just don't want to leave it into their hands. Is all. It's easier said than done, and it happens.
Is that a tough pitch to call as an ump? I mean, you're behind the plate all the time. Like, would that one fool an ump because of the late break or no?
It wasn't
you know what I'm
late
saying?
break.
Like, I'm trying to understand.
It was a heater up in the zone, and I think some umpires.
Yeah, but it tailed.
I had it more high than out.
Yeah, I mean it was up and away. I mean Sewald's pitch is going to stay up there. To me, the deceiving part of a pitch, Sewald's pitch, he's throwing from this angle, so you think it's going to do this. You think it's going to run, and it stays true through the zone. So even umpires are getting deceived by that. They're getting deceived by where that pitch is and is going to end up being located because your mind thinks a pitch is going to stay on a certain plane from a certain angle. So from there, you think it's going to run off the plate. And Gabriel Moreno said, no, I can keep this in the zone. And I think good catchers that can keep that ball in the zone, if Moreno is around this ball and he comes from the outside of that pitch because he knows where it's going to go. He's caught Sewald enough that he's bringing that pitch back in, and that's the part that tricked.
I saw it right there. I didn't see it. I didn't catch it the first time around. Ejecting someone after the game's over.
Ejected Schilt.
Yeah.
Like, might be a fine.
Yeah, why eject? Just punch him in the face. Why
not where I was going with that. Not where I was going with that.
This isn't Russian hockey.
I'm kidding. We're in Vegas. I'm just going to a boxing match.
Throwing me out of a game that's already over. What for? What? What's that going to do?
I would be like, how about this? Instead of throwing me out,
hit the showers. I'm going
and making me give money to the league, and they're rich.
No, a charity.
I donate to a charity of your choice. Oh, it goes to charity, right?
All fines go to charities.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about
giving it to the league?
Fine then. I actually am for it. I changed my mind now.
What a charitable guy! Yeah.
Yeah. If you're yelling at me and I'm an ump after the game, then I'm going to be like, great, you can yell at me, but because of that, we are going to help a good cause.
Yeah, you're only yelling at him because you have such good intentions, right? It's because you're charitable. That's why you're yelling at him.
It's better than a punch in the face.
Yeah. We do not condone umpires punching players in faces.
No,
the same good guy just said punch him in the face.
I was going to say, holy cow, there's a lot going on here with Scotty.
Woo! All right, 2 scorecards, 1 good, 1 bad. Let's focus on good first. I like this part of the show when you look back at how an ump did. So this was from Wednesday, the Reds and the Rockies, because you usually get these about, 18 hours after the game? Publicly released in that
range. If
range.
we're out here on the West Coast, we get them sooner. It's 3 hours earlier.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that. So Charlie Ramos called the Reds-Rockies game the other day, last game of that series. He had 99% called ball accuracy and 93% called strike accuracy and overall accuracy of 98%. I mean, he was a superstar, so he had a day. There were a couple tough calls there that he missed.
The 3
wide of the zone.
The 3 is the one.
3 total,
if you look at the number 3, 4 total.
Oh, it's 4.
But number 3.
I'm pissed at number 1.
Well, you're pissed at number 1 too.
Hitter.
I get that. you don't want that. But you look on the left, Charlie Ramos, the overall favor, he favored the Reds a half a run. In receiving terms, that is a huge value. And it really all comes from number 3. He absolutely boxed number 3. That's worth Most likely that pitch right there is worth 0.99 runs. And the reason that, or not 0.99 runs, it would be worth almost a run because that is like 100% of the time that pitch is called a strike. So that time it wasn't. So it's worth 0.99 points in the framing metrics.
And you saw, what was he, 97% accuracy?
On strikes?
No, he was 99 on
99
overall
on
accuracy.
balls, 97 overall, I think.
90,
Yeah,
97.
consistency,
guy- that's a good day.
97% accuracy, 98%.
And if a guy's having a great day and that's his only one he misses or something, or he misses just one on you the whole day, it's not as frustrating as someone who's just all over erratic, all over the place, calling. You don't know. Hitters will adjust. You're like, okay, he's got a high zone today, or he's got a low one, or he's giving off on the inside corner, something. We'll adjust eventually. We might bitch a little bit for a little while, or if they give us on a third strike. But if you just miss one and it's like the only one he missed all day, and you're just like, buddy, that's your first one all day. And he's like, it might have been, and you move on. It's easier to move on when some guy's on.
Yep. You talk about it. What was the score of that game?
12-7.
Yeah.
That's also makes it a little easier
There
to move
you-
on. It's not like a 2-1 ball game.
Right.
Yeah,
the
but-
hitters don't
yeah, but-
complain as much at 12-7.
Yeah, but when you're not calling strikes like the next card, I hope we can swipe left here
Yeah.
and show the next card.
We can. Dan Merzel.
Dan
Let's see.
Merzel was the 11-7 game.
Yeah, with the Dodgers beating the Pirates on Thursday.
Ooh, Danny Boy.
This is
He
another one.
knows how to find a ball, but
Danny Boy.
a strike was a challenge for him. 71% called strike accuracy. I want to just preface this real quick, too, before we dive into it. The reason we're doing segments like this, a few times a week, is we do have a human element of our sport. People do like to talk about this. There could be ongoing changes with the way that we officiate games, but for now, there's a human element. So we should evaluate performance just like we do for anyone else involved in the game.
And I'm looking at the screen. Look at all the strikes he gave on the right side. Inside to righties is what I'm guessing that is, right? All the reds, like the 1
Yeah.
and the 2.2. There's a lot there. So he's consistent at least. So it makes it a little easier. You can adjust off that. You can talk to him and be like, what's coming, and you can fight off a little bit more pitches, or you're going to have to swing on that pitches. At least it's consistent. It's the ones where those are just, it's a spray chart around a zone that really make it tough as hell as a hitter.
So you're just like, you're seeing that pitch consistently called.
I'm less
and you're like,
bothered
that's
when
a
it's
strike?
all on one side like
Right.
that. It's not a great day for him. I mean, even if you asked him, he's a 90% success rate.
Yeah.
I'm less bothered when there's a consistent area of his misses.
I'm curious, because there's consistent misses, the follow-up is, does he look at this and does he have a conversation with his boss? And he goes, hey, dude, you're too far off the plate. We need to bring you in a little bit. Because that's evaluation, right?
I'd love to say yes, and I'd love to say that I hope they do. But as a former hitter, neither of us believe that they do.
Yeah.
We want
There's
to.
ones that want to get
There's
better.
ones that want to.
And
Yeah.
they look at this and they're like, yeah, I want to get better.
There are ones that come to you the next
Yep.
game and be like, I looked at it, I missed it. Even when you say it, however you want to word it to them, be like, just look at that and come to me tomorrow, and you'll talk tomorrow. And when you develop friendships with umpires, you have civil conversations with them. There's some who won't even talk to you the next day. Either they looked at it and they found out they got it wrong and they don't want to hear from you, or won't admit they're wrong, or they just didn't look at it and they don't care.
Yeah.
So there's some older ones that just don't look at it anymore. So it's you like the ones who at least will either come to you, engage in a conversation, or admit fault when they looked at it. The weird part is when you both look at it and you're like, see, I told you it was off. He's like, I looked at it, it was on. And you're like, the hell is going on?
Are we looking at the same
Yeah.
thing?
Maybe
It's
not.
in the buffer.
Oh my God.
Oh, I just
My
gotta,
blood just boiled
Yeah,
a little.
just-
I
just got-
hate that word when they come back. It's in the grays, the buffer, the gray zone where it's
Well,
they
it
give a
actually
2-inch, 2-inch
Yeah.
buffer. So umpires get a 2-inch buffer off each side of the plate for their grading scale. So that's where a lot of the problems come in because
on
hitters,
both sides.
we train for the edges of the plate. And so we know, even if it's coming in that fast, we know if it's 2 inches off. And they're like, that's a ball. And he's like, well, in our grading scale, it's a strike, and I called it a strike, so I'm right. So it's like you're both right because it is a ball, but he called it a strike, and to his grading scale, it is a strike. That's where it's a problem. That's where their grading scale I don't necessarily agree with all the time.
And that's where we need people mic'd up, because I would love to hear that back and forth.
I'm happy. I agree. I think it'd be very entertaining to get a mic on the umpire, or because we've seen the one with like where Syndergaard threw behind him. That one video.
You got me in a box here.
It's entertainment. It's great entertainment, and people want to hear those conversations. There will be a lot of bleeps, but I think it's fantastic. I'm very happy I'm not there anymore because I don't think you could use a lot of my audio. I would make a lot of jokes, but then if I didn't hear an answer I liked, it's like it's because you only get like 10 seconds to get in because either you have to start walking away with the Nico Horn or you throw up arms or anything and you're ejected before you know it. So it's a quick 10-minute conversation. If in the first 5 seconds don't go right, you start saying stuff you might regret. I'll put it that way.
You put me in a box, Terry. You really put me in a box, Terry.
What was the word that Terry Collins used? Like Jack? He used some word that people kept using. I can't remember. Someone's going to say it in the chat.
To bring our two conversations together, one shoe Dan Marzell here.
Yes.
When he's calling.
Ass in the jackpot. Sorry, I had to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Thank you. When he's calling
Thanks,
all
Jackson.
that, you talk about like protecting. Now you know you have to protect that pitch away.
We can adjust.
You know that Austin Barnes he's a legend back there. Will Smith is a legend back there receiving pitches and can handle those pitches. If he's calling it, now those are the days you protect.
Mm-hmm. And some appreciation from some in the chat saying, cool that we bring out the good ones too. Yes, we are looking for the good ones.
Oh, yeah. They deserve their credit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We are pointing out.
It's not easy.
Yeah, the highs and the lows, just like we do for players and front offices and all of that stuff.
You can't just build up the good or you can't just break down the bad and think like there's a lot of really good ones. I'll retweet all the good ones that I
Kratz
see because that needs to be celebrated.
I agree. You might think Kratz is, kissing ass because he's trying to get calls, but he's retired.
Why would they not take the grading skills that they have, the reports that they have, average them all out at the end of the year, and if you're in the bottom 5, you're down to the minor leagues.
What?
The top 5 from AAA come up. I don't understand why it's. I'm sure you've talked about it, or I missed it, or something.
Like delegation. That sounds like something. Relegation. Everything. That sounds like something everyone is saying, including Max Scherzer, who spoke about it. Maybe a month ago? Scherzer went on a rant about it. I think this was when the Angel Hernandez stuff was coming. They
got lifetime contracts and are just never held accountable.
They're year-to-year contracts.
Yeah, but so do players.
That lasts a lifetime.
If you're
1 year
a
deals
league
last
minimum
a lifetime.
player and you're on an 0 for 30, they'll just let you ride it out for life, right? You get tenure.
Well, maybe we just shouldn't have. Just shouldn't have their stats put up. Like we're putting the umpire stats up. We shouldn't put up player stats anymore either.
Yeah. Everyone gets a medal.com. Let's go to
live-to-date umpire stats
London
on the screen.
It's a crazy concept. We're going to look ahead and just give you a few liners from London. Because it's cool. International baseball going on, Mets and Phillies. So I'll be watching that, especially Saturday. I mean, both. We had Glanville on yesterday with us. It was great. He'll be on Sunday's call, but Saturday's got Pierzynski. Waino's in the booth with him, right? I think.
Yeah,
I think those two are reunited.
They're taking the A2 group. not quite first, not preferred seating, but it's going to be, to me,
Economy
I think
plus.
When you have Economy plus.
They're big guys, both of them.
But I think you have those guys. I love their energy calling the game in London. And I watched Harper's interview today, and they asked him, they were like, yeah, it's a work trip here, but he's like, bro, this isn't a work trip. Like, this is a game for the fans. And if you want commentators
look at AJ
that are for the fans, I think AJ and Waino are perfect. And I think you just have that catcher-pitcher combo, that friends combo, and I think they're going to hit it out of the park with those two guys. I mean, I think Kay and Kirchin and Glanville are going to do awesome too, but the Saturday game, you have those two guys with the energy and the build-up, more people will watch Sunday's game, which is what we want. We want more people to watch the game. Oh, what's AJ doing here? Oh, my goodness.
Home run derby with
what
Utley
a rollover.
What a rollover. We're watching some video of Pierzynski taking swings.
See his eyes go down, and to the right.
Yeah.
Down. He's
I fielded a bunch of those.
That's not even a quarter zip. He's wearing a hoodie. He's wearing a 3/4 hoodie.
It's all right.
He doesn't like it. This is not all one swing, everybody, okay? These are all his rollovers.
This isn't on repeat.
That's like 6, 7 rollovers. We should have a hitting competition for foul territory at the All-Star game.
We might.
That'd be kind
By
of
the way, a few notable quotes. Pete Alonso said jet lag is a choice. That was fun. Also, apparently JD Martinez organized a group of Mets seeing the changing of the guard on
I think that's
Friday
cool.
morning. And Alonso said JD just navigated the streets like a local. It was pretty cool. I love the way that Pete talks. I just feel like he is made for entertainment.
He's
like
quotable.
He's so quotable. He also said to a London reporter, asking a London reporter if Sunday roast is available other days. There were a lot of food questions back and forth with reporters and with Pete. There was another one. I think the reporter said, like, will you eat mushy peas? Which I guess maybe that's a thing they do out there. I don't know.
Hard pass.
I'm lost on that. Yeah, Kip would pass. I think Pete was like, yeah, I'm down if.
Is that an
if I'm
American
supposed to.
thing?
What?
We send our athletes over places and they're like, let's eat all the meat that, in Korea. Let's eat the meat on the stick, and then let's go to the next
a tourist
thing.
thing.
It's a tourist thing?
Yeah, it is.
So
People come here and they're like burgers,
But I'm
pizza, whatever.
So you think when Arsenal or Man U or Liverpool come to play a friendly over here in Philadelphia, they're like, we're getting cheesesteaks.
Yes.
We're getting all the street meat.
Let me ask you, when you travel, what do you do when you go there?
I go to the gym. I can do buys and tries.
Right.
No, you
right.
sample
you eat,
local
but I'm asking you, is it an American thing?
Okay,
no.
But you're over there. You're not going to get the same food you get back home.
No,
you're there to try new things.
I'm asking, is it an American thing?
No,
Jason?
I think it's no.
We're answering.
It's a traveler's thing. It's you're trying to experience
because other
the culture
countries
of
travel
where you
more
are.
than we do. Americans don't travel nearly as much as other countries.
I think that's global. I think when you go to a certain country,
somewhere,
you
you're
try
like,
to experience the culture there, or you should at least if you're not. You don't
Yeah.
go there and then still have McDonald's.
No, absolutely not.
I think that's
some people do because they serve different food at different fast food restaurants across the country.
Okay.
And if you're
the
6 days in a
easiest
row
way-
of new food and you're like, I need something home cooked or home cooked.
Different-
I need
different.
to experience
Right.
something. Yeah.
But it's the easiest way to experience the culture. Everyone has to eat.
I think
They're like,
food's
let
the
me
best part of the
check
culture.
it out.
A
Yeah.
lot of times.
I just didn't know if it was because when I played in the Dominican, I'm like, they're like, well, this place is a pizza place. I'm like, I want street meat. Like, I want to have from the cart. I want to get fruit from the fruit stand. I want to have whatever. I want a pierna sandwich. Like, I want whatever is local.
Do you have bugs?
Bugs?
Did they have bugs there?
Like eating bugs?
Yeah.
No, that was in Seattle when we had the
That's at the ballpark.
crickets.
They had crickets. Did you try them?
Yeah.
Would you try it?
I tried them. They're disgusting.
There's
not
nothing to
disgusting.
them. It's
Not
nothing to
disgusting.
them.
It's just stupid.
Not
It's
disgusting.
crunchy.
Yes, it is disgusting.
It's
they
not.
don't taste good.
They're not disgusting.
You
didn't
ate them and
taste
said,
bad.
this good.
They had good
I'm
flavor.
not going back
I'm
for
not going
more. It
back.
depends what seasoning you put on it, but it's literally just like a potato. It's like there's a
Disgusting.
hollow
no.
out crunch.
I guess. I think it's just to say that you ate.
Coconut shavings are
cricket.
disgusting.
What is?
What?
Coconut shavings. The
This-
flavor of coconut, delicious.
No, this
Coconut
is-
shavings, disgusting.
Hard disagree on that. This is getting out of hand. Lion takeover. Your free games of the weekend are here on the screen right now. If you have the BetMGM app, live streaming is available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. Friday's game is Red Sox White Sox with Garrett Crochet. So don't be like, oh, it's Garrett Crochet. It's a good dude to watch, even if you're not a fan and your team's not playing during that time. If you're trying to acquire that player, he's fun to watch on the mound. Anyway,
Absolutely.
yeah, Giants Rangers on Saturday and Cubs Reds is your free game on Sunday. Quick look back at Thursday's locks. I watched at least half of that game, maybe a little more. Braves were down 2-0, couple solo smacks from the Nats, and then I just want to give a shout out. I mean, there are other thoughts about off the field concerns, but Marcell Ozuna is a fucking beast this season. I think he's got 18 home runs, and last year there was a point where almost everyone was like, why do the Braves still have this dude on the team? The first month or two of the season, he was awful. He was like one of the worst hitters in baseball. And ever since then, he's like a top 10 hitter in the sport.
And the off the field stuff. The Braves are being rewarded for their loyalty to a player right now.
Yeah. Because where would they be without him? He's been consistently amazing. I'm just saying the results on the field are outstanding right now. So anyway, a hit, run line. Kratz, Murphy. Did you watch that first inning?
I watched the first inning. It was actually right after here. I watched it in the BetMGM Sportsbook on the largest TV since the one at Kip's house. And it hit, and it was at no sweat except for the fact that the left fielder, who was the left fielder for the Mariners? Was it Trim Up? Anyway, left fielder for the Mariners dropped a fly ball in the first inning, and Toro got to second, then got to third, but got the job done.
Mm-hmm. We're not going to talk about Kipsaw because he's going to get back on the winning
Get
side.
back on track.
Are you going to throw down today? You can start.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
So your boy's been cold this year so far. We had a really good year last year.
You did.
We're 0-3 to start this year. We're down 960.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we put together a parlay today. I think it was the Braves money line and the Brewers money line.
Correct.
Which is plus 500.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it is. It's plus 500. Yeah.
And we're doing it for 500.
Whoa.
So we're betting 500. So we're getting scared money don't make money.
500 to win 2,500. Wow.
We're in Vegas where we gamble, and we're gambling.
All right. We'll keep an eye on that one. Kratz, you have a parlay for us as well?
Sorry, I was still.
You're enamored.
500 for plus 500?
Mm-hmm.
I love that play.
Aggressive. Mucho agresivo.
I love that play because I also picked sale day. Braves have been a roller coaster of betting, but I'm glad it hit for you yesterday. It's sale day today. I like betting on the Braves money line with sale day and max day. So I got them, and I have Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays. I'm going money line Blue Jays, money line Braves. Appreciate that. The only thing that I'm a little nervous about is the Blue Jays had to fly across the country to Oakland to play this game. But they get in. They fly PJ.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Nice plus 137.
I am going to do a quick edit, because Atlanta, I was looking.
I don't think it should be plus 500. I think not. Claudia.
I don't know. All right. Well, it's plus 188. So you're still putting 500 to win whatever that number is.
Okay. I love the Brewers part of that.
I looked real quick.
You.
I was like, that sounds incredible, but that sounds
also sounded wrong.
Too wild.
Still 500 though?
Still 500.
Do I increase now because I wanted that big payday?
That's
we'll do 500.
Payday.
We'll do 500 still plus 188.
Still a big payday.
Yeah. Yep.
Still 500 times 188 is
many monies.
Yeah, many monies. I don't know. I can't do the math right now. But anyway, I'll go Cincinnati money line. Nick Lodolo is a stud. And he's going up against Justin Steele. Steele just pitched against the Reds. Reds have won 5 in a row. I've been talking up the Reds for the past couple weeks, and they have been making me look good, and they've been making bettors look good. So I think Lodolo has a nice night against this Chicago Cubs lineup that has struggled against starters like him. And even if you look at the numbers for the Cubs against Lodolo in the past, they're a little bit deceiving. The peripherals and some of the expected stats are way, way nicer to Lodolo than what some of the hitting results have been.
That's why I stayed away from it.
You did?
I mean, that's why I didn't look at the peripherals.
The peripherals, yeah. But I'm like, it moved a ton. I didn't hit it in time, but this morning it was like minus 110-ish.
It was almost.
And then I was looking at the Brewers game, and then it wasn't on there because of the starter they were figuring out. So anyway, Steele last time around against Cincinnati, it was 5 innings, 5 runs, 7 hits, 4 walks, a hit by pitch. So I got the Reds to stay hot, minus 130. So 130 to win a hundo. And we have the MLB Grand Slam Jackpot weekly bet and get promotion every single weekend right now. Place a $10 or more wager on any player to hit a homer every weekend. It could either be on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And if a player hits a granny on that day, they can win the $50,000 daily prize or share of the prize with every other winning bettor. Let's get a home run pick from Kratz and Kip, a quickie.
I switched mine up. I had Royce Lewis at plus 400, but I'm going Ohtani. I just feel like Ohtani is going to give you plus $249.
Really reaching on that one. Which date are you supposed? You picked a day?
Oh, today.
Okay.
Petite.
I had a couple lefties in a row against this team, so I was going to go Matt Olson. But I'm switching to Austin Riley, and I just flipped a coin between Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to Austin Riley on Sunday.
Okay. I feel like, man, he starts getting going. Oh boy, the Braves lineup will run.
Braves offense is going to be fine. Let's slap. All right, so two things. One, we'll update because the MRI for Soto was apparently a couple hours ago. And at least John Heyman, our friend who was on the show the other day, said initial doc report suggests he'll be okay. Radiologist will review, though, to be sure.
Do they have to go to CVS to get the pictures printed? Like we're in a day and age where we can send that, John, to my phone, and radiologist can be like, yep, clean.
Yeah, but he's busy. He might have other patients.
Right. You're right.
It's not like the whole world is waiting for this, but that's good. It's good initial news. We'll see. We'll keep track of this, obviously, over the weekend. We'll talk more about it.
Derek, deep breath. Deep breath for our buddy Derek.
Mm-hmm. And then I just want to do there it is. There's the tweet. Want to do a quick PSA from the other day. So Metch Jr. on Twitter has been going back and forth with us, and appreciate the FT love and his Reddit post the other day that we highlighted with the mismatch of promos with all the Philly superstars on one side of the store that we were highlighting in London, and then the Mets bullpen, including one dude that hadn't pitched for them in 2 years, on the other side. So great photo, great post on Reddit, but I couldn't tell. I think he was confused because he was like, Todd Father is talking about it, acting like he's in London. That's a bit. So if he was being sarcastic, that's fine. But I just want to make sure everyone understands the reason I'm doing this PSA is when Todd Father does his problem, he's not actually Tony Soprano, and he's usually not actually in the city that we're talking about. You know, it's a bit. It's actually called role play.
What?
So I just wanted to throw it out there for anyone to
Scott loves is role play.
understand the bit that we do, because sometimes people catch like a minute or two of a social clip and then they're like, what? Todd wasn't in London. You're right. He's not. He's probably in parts unknown in New Jersey coaching 10-year-olds and tell them to go get him, big dog.
Or when it says live, like that means our show is live.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean our guest, Alec Burleson today, our show is not live with us. He's not here.
In person.
He's just live
Yeah.
on the show. We do this show live.
Every day, every weekday. So we appreciate everyone. Obviously, subscribe and please leave a rating or review. Nice one on the pod page if you're listening right now, and we'll read some of those as we've been doing the last couple of weeks. Bad Tats.
Can I add one more slap hands that Kip just showed me?
Yeah.
And Kip, since you're the resident Cleveland Guardian, who we didn't realize this, but this is the first time since a certain instant.
The first game between Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson since the brawl.
Oh,
today.
I did not think about
Where
that.
they're both
I
on the
didn't
field.
either. Big
Little-
pick by
Good
little
pickup.
fun. I just saw it on X real quick. Interesting, very interesting. I'm intrigued.
maybe get on SeatGeek and check out the.
I would hit that.
Who we got?
check
Who we
it.
got?
Hit that. That's pun intended.
I would hit that game. Right, exactly.
Milwaukee Brewers throwback, John, right here. All I think of, Eric Thames. Eric Thames hitting just
God of
nukes
War.
in the full gray uniform. He is Thanos without the negative things of Thanos. Just the absolute, just sheer gargantuan size of his arms.
I have bad news for you guys. Tim Anderson's on the bereavement list, unfortunately, so he's not playing.
Condolences.
At least for now. So sorry to hear that. Bye to me, at least for a few shows. I'm going away for a little bit. Parts unknown. I'm disappearing. But thank you so much to Mandalay Bay for hosting us here in the studio. It's awesome. We're going to go hit some poker action to play in the Aria Poker Classic and hopefully finish in the money again. We have some interviews with the press coming up, which is cool. Appreciate you, FT fam. Have a great weekend. Enjoy all these crazy games. And you'll see Kratz on Monday and AJ.